Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Coaching Call podcast. On this podcast, we'll cover various types of coaching by trainers in sports, martial arts, fitness, and business. We'll discuss each coach's methods to getting the most out of their respective athletes or clients and how they attempt to change the platform in which they coach. Join us on a fun adventure as we discuss unique coaching styles. We've all been coached before, in school, at work, or on a team. Your first coaches were your mom and dad who taught you how to communicate, tie your shoes, or play a simple game of catch. Coaching is a universal part of how we get others to get something done. Join your host, Raphael, and his guests on this unique journey in coaching.
Hi, I'm Sifu Raphael, and this is the Coaching Call podcast. If you enjoy this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. This episode was made possible by listeners like you. If you enjoy my show, go ahead and buy me a cup of coffee. Make it a large. To donate, go to paypal.me/SifuRaphael. That's SIFURAFAEL. I'm trying to keep this podcast free of advertisements. Anything you can donate is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Everything is connections. Everything is relationship. And what we forget to do is be in relationship with ourselves. That's the most important. And then take it further is to be in relationship with our body.
On today's episode, I had the pleasure of speaking with Tracey Whittet. Tracey's a gifted energy facilitator, author, and intuitive guide. She's trained in many energy healing modalities, including Reiki, Divine Healing Hands, Theta Healing, Access Consciousness, Yuen Method, and Healing Touch. Tracey, thank you so much for joining me on Coaching Call. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. Likewise.
Yeah.
You do something that I love, which is healing. You're a Reiki master. You work with balance, if you will, right, with your life, your multidimensional body. What made you do these things? What made you get involved in all that you do?
Well, I didn't consciously say, hey, I'm going to go be an energy worker. What happened was, I think I was young, like 18 years old, and would go to this woman's house in our neighborhood. I lived in Annandale, Virginia, and we lived in this neighborhood called Camelot. And a friend of mine said, hey, you should go meet Diet. And so I did. And she rubbed my feet, like did reflexology. And it was like, wow. And she would like push the back of my big toe. And it was like, okay, yeah, you got the pituitary. I feel it, whatever. I started going to her house every Sunday night and we would study A Course in Miracles. Have you ever heard of that? A Course in Miracles?
I haven't, but I'd love to hear more.
It's supposed to be channel Jesus information, and it's kind of psycho-spiritual, and it destroys the ego. It was like back in the early 80s, because I'm older. And we would meet every Sunday night and discuss what we had read. And it's like, what do you mean nothing in this room means anything? Because you're like, yes, I see it. It means something, so it challenges the ego and such. So I became close with her in the small group. And she said, hey, a friend of mine has a Reiki master in town and he's teaching classes. I think you should try it. And I'm like, okay. So I just followed, her suggestion. And so that was Reiki 1 in 1983.
Nice.
And they say if you don't use it, you lose it. But I may have already had this ability, but didn't know it. It's like if a fish is in water, it doesn't realize it's in water, maybe. You're just too close to it or something. And so maybe I've always been intuitive, psychic, but I just didn't really give myself credit because I thought everybody was how I saw things or felt things. I was guided. I think I was designed or something to do this work by the divine. And I say God, I say creator, I say source, but it's like we're all made of this same essence.
We are.
We're all the same. We're all light and sound. And supposedly with physics, they tell us that, we're not even solid, but it sure feels like it. So I've always been intrigued with it. I've taken so many energy work classes, and I've always been interested in holistic health, just naturally, organically. I don't know why. I'll say that when I was around 25, a friend I met, anyway, I took this class called Creative Wellness in Vienna, Virginia, and it was holistic stress management. And I'm telling you, it changed my life, and I still use it to this day because it talks about your personality, your strengths and weaknesses in archetypal images. Like, I'm Iris, goddess of the rainbow. And apparently she's the natural intuitive. So who knew? I didn't know.
Right.
But when I get stressed out, my pituitary and the adrenal glands get triggered. And that creates my facade, being super sensitive,
right.
And once you get your personality balance, so to speak, through nutrition, exercise, gemstones, Bach flower remedies, affirmations, candles, meditation, insight. I mean, it was like holistic program. And I still use it to this day. Like, this is a pretty good color for me. And it's not Color Me Beautiful, if you remember her, Carol, whatever. She was from Virginia also. I've just always been on this path and naturally gravitated towards it. And I guess it takes humans a really long time to grow up, Like,
it does.
I've been in my body all my life, but why do I try and fit in? I've never been normal, if you will. I just knew I didn't belong. And that's kind of an awful feeling for a human, because that's one of our basic needs is we want to belong, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I've just always been wired different. And I remember my mother telling me, why are you into all this stuff? I'm like, I don't know. And it's like, thanks for the support, Mom. Gosh.
You've said so much. And I want to go back to when you were talking about a fish doesn't know it's in water, because we take everything for granted. I mean, the air we breathe, we don't realize that without that air. And when we realize it, when you said fish in water, right? I said, if you take a person, they will realize how important their breath is if you throw them in water, if you submerge them, because all of a sudden it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I have to breathe. But we do it without realizing. And that is just an amazing thing that we're able to do. Our lungs are able to function, our sight, if we have sight, if we have hearing. So we take so many things for granted. And, when you said earlier also that you probably had been doing this, you didn't know it. It wasn't exposed to you. But we are all somehow born with gifts. And it takes another person to point them out to us. Because sometimes we're in it so much that we don't know it. We don't realize it. Right. And even like, imagine somebody who's angry, right? They don't even know they're angry until someone else points it out, or somebody who's sad, or somebody who's, in a mood, let's say. Sometimes it takes another person to say, hey, what's going on? And they're like, whoa, wait a minute. Well, somebody will say, are you having a bad day? And then all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, mate. Am I? So I appreciate you saying all those things. And let's go back. I know you told me when you were 18, but who would you say? And you said your mom was questioning your effects of what you're into. But who would you say your earliest recollections of what made you think or be the person that you are, even earlier, 6, 7, 5?
I grew up in Virginia, Northern Virginia, and in Springfield, we would play all summer outside, riding our bikes, had a tire swing,
Nice.
With woods all around. Like in our backyard, it was wooded. We were playing house, or whatever you would call it when you're outside and you're just in make-believe. So I don't know how old I was. It was between 5 and I had to have been like 7, maybe.
Yeah.
I remember being astonished when the little friends, my neighborhood friends, and I were playing out in the woods. Like, well, here's the kitchen and here's the bedroom. Like, I don't know what we were doing, just making it up. And I remember they gave me the role of mother. You be the mother. I was like, wow. that's kind of a lot of responsibility.
Yes, it is.
And so what you said about the contrast of someone reflecting that to you, I didn't see myself that way, because I can tell you I've got great fears and self-esteem and self-confidence. We're all hiding behind our facade that I started talking about. And we do our best to be our best. But you're right about when you talk about connections, because everything is connections. Everything is relationship. And what we forget to do is be in relationship with ourself. That's the most important. And then take it further is to be in relationship with our body, our feelings, our mind, and understanding, and actually being self-responsible. That's kind of like my thing. I had this epiphany, and I'm going to admit it.
Go for it.
I realized that I have struggled a lot to do and get to be who I am now through trial and error or whatever. Maybe I had karma. I don't know, but I think I'm mopping it all up in this lifetime, for the cause and effect. And I realized that and it's my greatest calling and wanting to do and be this, is to teach others what I know and to share my wisdom. But I'm realizing, if I've been on this path consciously since I was 18 or something, and I'm going to tell you I'm 65 now. That's so old, right? I've never been this old before.
Wait, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you for a second.
Why? Old. Well, in the chronological body,
No, you're not.
Okay.
Forget the body. In your mind, how old are you?
18.
Perfect. Thank you. Forget the body.
I still have fun.
Listen, your mind controls your body, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I had to.
No, thanks for calling me out. I appreciate it.
And you look great, by the way.
Well, thank you. I try.
Look at me. I'm
really
104. Try. I look pretty decent. Right?
You look marvelous.
Right.
Oh, how fun.
It's a state of mind, right? Because, you know, a lot of people, for myself, and I'll let you get back to it. For myself, I still don't see myself as a man. And when I was a kid, I was like, when I become a man, and I'm still thinking like I'm like in my 20s, and I'm like, a man. I'm not a man. I'm the biggest Toys R Us kid you'll ever find. So
I love it.
Thank you. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had to.
I love it. Thank you. I like being called out, because I can go down that trail and it's like a lie. You know what I mean? Like, we're eternal. Soul is eternal. Hello. I used to know that, but I forgot.
It's good to remember.
But what I realized, it is really good to remember it, and then to have someone call you out and say, hello, this is truth, or whatever. So I realized that people that I'm close to, whether it's my husband or my son, or even friends, there's this weird thing that I have to admit, that I was like, well, why are you asking me how to help yourself? Even though that's what I want to do. But it's like, why are you asking me? I did it all by myself. So I think, it's just this weird, you want to be a leader, not arrogant, right? And so I had this realization, like, how can I be most effective? I worked in corporate America. I did quality work. How can you make a business process more efficient? All of those things. And to me, it's just common sense. But I think that way. I think efficiently, productively. Okay, I'm going to go to the kitchen, but while I'm going there, I'm going to grab this from my desk and put it in the dishwasher. I'm like really kind of OCD about that. But what's been coming up for me is like, how can I relate to more people and meet them where they are without, I think I'm doing it. I'm just having an epiphany talking with you. But it's like, I think that I'm doing it because I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be judged by them. Oh, you're woo-woo.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm not. I'm very grounded. But I have been able to tap into some divine gifts where, like, when someone wants to work with me energetically, Spirit told me the name was Transmosis. And I mean that I kind of heard that while I was working on someone. And I wrote it on a whiteboard that was behind me so I would not forget because I'm in the zone. And I asked everybody, what does transmosis mean? And nobody knows. Because I used to say it's a made up word, spirit grammar or something. But a friend corrected me and she said, no, you are divinely appointed to have that word, to do that work. And so I looked up not translucent, but like transformation, transfiguration, transmosis. Well, that sounds like osmosis, looking at the root words and all that. And I think what I asked myself finally, and I have to read it because it's not how I talk, and it's transmosis, an unconscious transfer and assimilation of higher energies. I think of that as source, as higher energies to raise the recipient's energy to equal the source energy. So that's like osmosis, right? Like if we have veils and we can't connect to the divine all the way because we've got disconnects and wounds and blocks in our bodies, in our energetic systems, endocrine, nervous chakra, that's where 80% of them are, but we don't even know they're there. And then sometimes we have these behaviors and these ailments and these thoughts that aren't even ours. We inherited them from our DNA, from our family. And so when you actually connect to these energies, all they want to do is be acknowledged because they're stuck in the past. There was a trauma. I fell down and scraped my knee. So my knee still thinks that's going on or something. I don't really know how it works. I just know that I'm a vehicle and a vessel to assist people to clear their blocks energetically. And you can tell me, this is what I want to work on physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And some people go, I don't know, whatever the divine says. And then I realized, okay, everything that I've learned through, it's called multidimensional body balancing, which I've integrated into transmosis, but it was very effective. It gave me language and a roadmap as to what's going on with people. Like, do they have energy stuck in their astral body, meaning their emotional body or their mental body or their physical body, whatever. And what happens is we can use, I think anyone can do this, but what happens is you tell me what you want to work on. I put everything together on one piece of paper called a map. I just call it a map. And I muscle test, if you've heard of applied kinesiology. So I muscle test, tell me the truth. I call in 100% pure divine light. I call you in and I just say, show me what is in his highest and greatest good to be done for himself and for all concerned. Because like we talked about, it's all one thing. So as one person elevates in consciousness and freedom of getting rid of stuff that's no longer serving them, then it serves the whole. So I feel very blessed to be able to offer this sacred work because it's really sacred. It's really sacred. It's not woo-woo.
Gotcha. So talk to me about divine hands. What does that mean? What does that mean to someone who doesn't understand what you do? And when we talk about healing hands, divine hands, what are we talking about?
So we're energy. And you know about meridians, right? They have these 12 major meridians all through our body. And just like I call what I do transmosis, Dr. and Master Shah, S-H-A, I studied under his work for quite a while in Boulder, Colorado, but he lives in Toronto. He taught this work called Divine Healing Hands. And it's kind of an attunement similar to Reiki, where you have like a ritual and a ceremony. It's like you are the vehicle. You're the vehicle. So, you just divine healing. I haven't actually utilized this in a really long time. But when you connect to the earth, in your heart, connect to the earth, connect to source or divine above, and you declare that you're a vehicle. At least that's how I do it. And then he would just do divine healing hands. And then sometimes light language would come out. And that's kind of what Christianity might call tongues, speaking in tongues. Or the Asian culture, Dr. Shah would, have certain words. He taught us soul language. And he's someone that was divinely guided, like in the Redwood Forest in California. He was with some of his people. And he got this download, this inspiration. And he thought it was a phone number. I think it's called, and I don't know Mandarin very well, so forgive me, but it's San San Julio Ba Ya Wu. And it's like numbers. And it's like code or something where you connect to the divine. And if you repeat this over and over again really fast, all of a sudden your light language starts coming out and your soul starts speaking. And you're like, I don't know what I'm saying, but because I remember I went to his soul enlightenment workshop in Arizona and I was on stage. This is like a short little stage and it was a small hotel room. And I stood up there and I tried that San San Julio Ba Ya Wu, San San Julio Ba Ya Wu. And I kept doing it. And then all of a sudden I just started gibbering, you know, and he starts going, oh. I'm like, what did I say? Anyway, Master Sha is a prolific writer. He did a lot of work. He was on a mission, you know, to enlighten the earth so that we could enlighten humanity, so that love, peace, and harmony, so that he could help the earth do her transition during this time. So he's amazing. He is amazing. Master of feng shui, of acupuncture, of Tai Chi, all of these. He's very, very a gifted man. So Divine Healing Hands was like fringe compared to Reiki and stuff like that. And because I was involved, I was very drawn to anything healing. I'll do anything to heal. So yeah, that's what Divine Healing Hands is. It's just you're transmitting the energy, and you can actually have someone in front of you. And you know, we have an aura, right? Of course,
absolutely.
So our nervous system feeds the endocrine glands, our ductless glands, which, you know, fight or flight or metabolism or processing blood sugar with your pancreas. But those endocrine glands are also attached to the chakra system, your energy system. And that energy system is connected not only on your physical body, but your superphysical, your astral, your causal. Mm-hmm. Causal body is like your Akashic records, or where all your cellular memories are located, your mental body, your etheric body, and your soul body. So it's like all one thing, but it's all interconnected. And by connecting them all, by cleaning everything up, it's kind of like spiritual hygiene.
Yeah, I love the way you said that. That's exactly it. You know, by having that cleansing, right?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And I do that for myself in the morning. Mm-hmm. I think one of the things I would share with anyone, because we forget ourselves, because we're in our body, we're a fish in water, you know, we forget. We're always focused out here. And when I worked in corporate America, I realized, oh my God, I am so out of the present moment right now. I'm focused on my Excel spreadsheet or whatever, right? And you have to like pull yourself back to this presence, this divinity of, we are divine humans. Yeah, we're human, but we're having a spiritual experience.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Tracy, so how does someone connect back, right? Because, you know, you step outside your house, and even before you step outside your house, you have all these things attacking you, right? All these billboards, all these signals, this communication, or all of these things that are coming at you from all directions. Yeah. Even in your own home, you walk past your refrigerator, there's a label on it, right? There's a tag on it, on your stove, on your microwave, wherever you are. Behind me, there's a ton of books. Those are all messages coming at me. So how can someone, and you talked about it with Dr. Shaw, how does someone who wants to feel connected, but they're not connected, what is the starting process that they have to go with?
So you're talking a lot about the outer world, which is only 1% of our reality. The inner world is 99%. Like I described all the systems and the hologram of all of that. And all of those chakras are connected to those bodies that go into the aura. So what I do, and I advise, is for people to go within, even if it's only 1 minute. You have to start. It's like I brush my teeth every day, every morning, every night, right? And I meditate every morning. And actually, even further than meditation is something called contemplation. So what if someone, let me just say let me keep it simple, because I could go way out. And I'm going to try and keep it simple. I would suggest you sit with your spine erect. You can stand, you could do a walking meditation, or you can sit. I multitask. I have my coffee with me while I'm meditating. So you can listen to music. I like silence, but listening to some spiritual filled music, like some kind of a chant or some YouTube Inner Lotus music, something like that is just lovely. And one of the nice ways to do this is really beautiful. It's with the breath.
Mhm.
And so, as you mentioned, the chakra system in the heart is kind of like the bridge between the higher and lower self. And so I close my eyes and I declare myself a vehicle for the divine. And anyone can use their words however their belief system works.
Mm.
You declare yourself a vehicle for the divine. You call in, and this is so important, and I didn't know that until I had my first energetic clearing. You call in 100% pure divine light. I thought I was working with beings from the Great White Brotherhood, like Saint Germain or whatever, because I don't really know them specifically by their names. I just know that it's, the angelic realm or the ascended master realm, etc. But I wasn't calling in 100% pure divine light. So you center, have your spine straight, and you declare yourself a vehicle for the divine. And as you do that, we forget how powerful we are. That happens.
Oh, yeah.
It's that simple. So declare yourself a vehicle for the divine, and whatever words you like, call in 100% pure divine light, and ask for your highest and greatest good to be done for yourself and for all concerned. It's just a lovely, so that you're the vehicle to help everyone, because we're all here like the local representative of God, if you will, of source, of creator. And then breathing in and out through the heart chakra, which is like in between the nipples, like in the sternum area. And when you breathe in, what's a beautiful visualization is to realize that spirit is exhaling and you're inhaling. And then you exhale, spirit is inhaling. So you connect to your divine self and your higher power, whatever anyone wants to call it. And then what I like to do is what I breathe there 2-3 times. In through the nose, out through the mouth is nice. It just seems to raise the energy. And then in my mind's eye and our imagination, what did Einstein say? Imagination is like I should know this, but it's calming features. I mean, it's real. That's the energies that we can't see with our eyes open, or some people can. But you send your energy down through your chakra system, like going through your solar plexus, through your sacral chakra, and out the root, which is like a flashlight facing the earth. Then you're like in this pillar of light. You send that light all the way down to the center of the earth. And that's like 4,000 miles away or something. And in your imagination, you ground yourself. Some people imagine roots coming out their feet, whatever it takes to ground, because we are soul, and we want to embody soul and have that experience in a human body, like be a spirit having a human experience, or the other way around, a human having a spiritual experience. So I send my light down to the center of the earth and ground it. And you can merge into the molten, wrap it around some iron ore, crystal, whatever works. If anything goes. So while you're still connected, you imagine coming up that Laoesh, that pillar of light, all the way through all of your chakras again, through the heart. Then you come up through the throat, the spiritual eye, and out the crown. And you keep going and you connect into that ocean of love. And, some people call it setting the chi field. You can do that going forward, behind you, to the left of you, to the right of you. And really what it is we're expanding ourself, our true self, as bigger than your body, bigger than your room, bigger than your city, bigger than the United States. Then you can be off planet looking back at the earth. We are this energy, this expansion, but we cram ourselves into these bodies.
That's right.
And then you could contemplate a word like love or peace or harmony or whatever you want to achieve. Now I'm going to plug myself for a second.
Please do. Before you plug yourself.
Sure.
I love everything that you're talking about. And, I feel this energy. I put my hand here and I feel energy, right? So that's me reaching up, right? And
yes,
when we talk about the healing energy that we have within inside of us, I had both my scapulas ripped.
How?
And I had to go to a year of therapy, and because they healed incorrectly, they had to re-rip them. So
oh my God.
So much. I had so much fun. So, but
Ow.
the whole thing is that in my mind, I was envisioning these thousands of little men fixing my scapula.
Yes.
They were there fixing it, fixing it,
Powerful.
fixing it, fixing it. It took me about a year and a half to fully recover. I'm fine. I can move my shoulders. I can move everything. But that all happened because someone, a friend of mine, actually is the one that ripped both my scapulas. He thought he was being funny, but he didn't know the damage he created. So,
Wow.
but here's the thing. I had no hard feelings for him because I have love in my heart. So I just realized that he made a mistake. He was dumb in his actions.
Yeah.
For me, it was such a learning experience because if I allow the pain to take over me, then I've lost. So during the therapy, when this woman was pulling my scapula, putting her fingers inside and re-ripping it in
Ugh.
order for it to come back, and
Ugh.
she would look at me and she goes, "Are you okay?" And I would say, "Yes." She goes, "But you're not
Wow.
making any sounds. You're not making a pain. Your face is not even showing that you're in pain." I said, "I'm in worse pain if I don't do the work. So please continue." And she's like, "You're just weird. You're just weird." I said, "Yeah, but you know what? The pain that you're causing me is nothing compared to the pain I'm living with. So
Yeah.
I appreciate what you're doing." And then she understood that, I'm a different creature. And one of the things that you said earlier, that you thought you were weird.
Yes.
Have you ever met a normal person? I haven't.
Have you ever met someone? I worked with people that had the perfect life, like they had,
Nobody has a perfect life.
or so it
Uh,
seemed. So it seemed, right? They had loving parents.
Seems that's correct. Yep.
They just had it easier. Like they didn't seem to have life struggles that. And I understand that. I think people do come into lifetimes just to rest. That's not what happened for me.
But you know what? And I appreciate you saying that. But even though we may look at someone and we go, "Wow, they have it all. They're perfect. They have a great relationship, great family, great job, this, that, the other." But no matter what, I believe that we all go through some sort of struggle in our lives. And everybody has a different struggle, but I think that our lives are made of struggle. And that's how we wind up shining, right? Look at a seed. It had a struggle to come out and be beautiful, right? To be a rose, to be any kind of plant. You're going to eat an orange or anything. It had a struggle for it to come out and be beautiful. So we all go through some sort of struggle, even those kids who are born with a silver spoon, you
Right.
know.
I found out that those people are. I always thought that if you were born into privilege
Mm,
like that you had it easy, but they don't. They don't because
everybody's different.
there's no purpose. Like they don't have to work. They just can choose things that don't serve
Yeah.
them.
I mean, look at Paris Hilton, right?
Right.
Now, has she had struggles? No doubt. But
Yeah.
is she privileged? Without a doubt. Will she ever have to work in her life? Probably not. But I don't see her in the limelight as much as before. And
Right.
it could be because she's finding herself. Could
Yeah.
be.
I love transformative
Oh yeah.
stories, like in movies or people that just
Hmm.
overcome great difficulty and like what you went through physically. That's deep work there with forgiveness and who knows why, but everything is a gift, and I always forget
Oh
that.
yeah.
I always forget that it's a
You're a
gift.
gift right now. Thank you.
Oh, you too. Fun
Oh
talking to
yeah,
you.
I'm having
Thank
a
you.
great time. Thank you, and you're so knowledgeable onto everything that you're talking about. And this is why I believe in coaching, right? One of the things that inspired me to do the coaching call is because I want to talk to coaches who have the experience, who have the knowledge, and to let everyone, all of my audience, and anyone listening, maybe this is the first time you're listening to this podcast, or it's the third time, who knows? Or somebody just turned you on to it, but every coach I've ever had comes with knowledge, comes with willing to share, comes with an abundance of information. And this is where I'm going to help you plug, because I believe that the work you're doing is phenomenal. And the fact that you're helping people is critical. And so for everybody, we all need a coach. We need someone to guide us, because guess what? You and I, we don't have all the answers. We don't. And that's why we seek other people who do, right? So go ahead. Tell us, plug away, my dear.
Oh, well, it's just simply that 3 ladies, myself and 2 other ladies, we wrote a book together, which is interesting. And it's called The Magi Within, Unlocking the Gifts of the Inner Self.
Wow.
And so when I spoke to you about meditating and contemplating love, peace, harmony, something like that, this is where the plug comes in, because in the book, we used the alphabet. So A, we wrote a chapter on awareness.
Nice.
We wrote a chapter on bliss, creativity, flow, energy, love, heart, and it asks questions. First of all, the first step in the book is to center yourself, ground up, expand, be who you really are. And then either think of a letter, whatever pops into your brain. Like, what letter pops into your brain right now?
D.
D? Dreams.
Desire.
Oh, okay.
And dreams. Yeah. Dreams. Absolutely.
Sure. But in the book, it was dreams.
Gotcha.
So it's a workbook, and you listen to the question, you read the questions, you contemplate them, you read the short little exercise. But then what you would be is, for the rest of your day today, is to be with that concept of dreams. Is it a waking dream? Is it, a sleeping dream? Did that dream mean something to me? You just work with yourself. So it's an empowerment book. And that's what connecting to yourself is about.
Can I jump in there, right?
Please.
Because I love that. Because guess what? And I read this book, Think and Grow Rich, every day, right?
Oh, yeah.
But in there, it talks about dreams too. And so one of the things that we have to think about is that the conscious mind can only think of one thing at a time, but the subconscious mind can think of millions of things. So when do we use our subconscious mind? Definitely when we're dreaming. So every night before I go to sleep, I ask my dreams to be filled with whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish, or whatever answers I'm looking for. So my dream state sometimes wakes me up, forces me to journal.
Yeah.
And so I get up and I start writing. I've gotten names of books. I've gotten ideas. I've gotten so many different things, because a lot of times when I was younger, I would dream of something and go, oh, that's interesting. That's cool. And I wouldn't write about it. Now I write about it. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy cannoli, right? That's huge. So thank you for bringing up dreams, right?
It is. You did.
I know I did.
You brought up D, and that's just the chapter that we wrote. And I love that you said you ask, because like you were given D in this just because I asked you the question, And what I learned in Access Consciousness, which is another body of energy work and very, very cool consciousness, Access Consciousness, which I think is what soul is. When you ask an open-ended question, like before you go to sleep like that, you're actually expanding energy. It's almost like you're throwing a net out, and then you get back exactly what you need in that moment, for yourself and for all concerned. When you contract energy or ask yes or no questions, like, hi, how are you today? Fine. That's like, it contracts the energy, but open-ended questions expand energy. So one time, because you just got the D, and it's just bringing this to my mind, there's a beautiful man named Jeffrey Hoppe, and he's in Colorado. And he's on a airplane, and all of a sudden he hears a voice on the inner say, I am your father. And he was really mad because his father had passed away. And he's like, what is this? Well, anyway, now he's a channel, and he was channeling this beautiful archangel named Tobias. And I learned so much from those people. But one time we went down to Denver and we were doing a workshop, and I can't remember the name of it. And I never did those seminars or anything. I would just go once a month to connect with Spirit Family. And he, for the first time, channeled a being, I call it Kuthumi, an ancient master, very wise. And he was channeling that, and he had us do a spiritual exercise. So Jeff is channeling Kuthumi, and we're sitting in the audience with our eyes closed with our paper and pencil. And the question was, think of 4 things. I forget how he even did it, but he led us to it. And I wrote down 4 things, and mine was ask, trust, acknowledge, and accept. And he said to me through Jeff, said, great, that's your curriculum. Now go teach it. I'm like, what?
What?
But really, when you ask questions, it makes so much sense. And so when I'm working with someone energetically on Zoom, in person, I like it on Zoom because then the person could just go lay down. They don't have to drive or anything. But anyway, because there is long distance healing and it works. We basically I ask, show me what is in the highest and greatest good for this person to receive right now. And I don't know how it works, but somehow I'll hear, like you heard a D or you thought of a D. I'll hear, start with the mother side of the family, 20 generations back. And, and then I go through the energetic protocols and sequences, and it could be in the causal body. It's like all these intersections of possibility of clearing stuff that is so unique for each and every person. And I feel such an honor in doing this work when I get to do it. And it's not like, oh, come every week, like a therapist or anything. It's like whenever you need it and whenever you want it, because I'm going to admit, I complain to my women's group. I'm like, how come people don't come back? And one of the women had received the work and she says, Tracey, oh my God, I am still integrating from that session, 8 months ago. I'm like, oh, because I don't know. I'm a fish in water. I don't know what they receive. If you're a child and your mother or father is reading you a story, or your older sibling is reading you a story, your imagination is visualizing pictures while they're talking. That's what happens for me. I'll say, this is what I'm seeing, or this is what I'm hearing, and I don't know how that person's experiencing it.
Right.
But it's like soul homeopathy. Somehow the gift that I have for the images or the words that I hear means something to that person. So like homeopathy, is like cures like. But I'll see it a certain way. It might look purple to me or whatever, but they might see it as green. I don't know. And I'm just making that up. But I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know what I am. I know I'm a daughter of God or a spirit or an angel. I don't know. But the spiritual part of me is heightened, and I work at it by meditating, contemplating every day, being kind. Oh my God, if the world could just be kind to themselves.
Please let it be. The whole world would be so much better if people were kinder to each other. Like forget, yes, opening a door, picking something up when someone drops it, but we don't know what someone's going through sometimes. And we immediately lash out because maybe they didn't do what we expect of them, right? What winds up happening is that when we can do or be in the world without expectations from other people, I think that the kindness would start to really come out of us. Because you know what? If I'm at a light, or if I'm going to a light and somebody cuts me off, or if somebody wants to do something, I don't know what they're going through. And for me to get mad at them, it's taking my energy away, right? So I don't want to give you my energy. I'll share energy, but I'm not giving it away.
Yeah.
So if we can start to say, you know what, maybe there's a reason for why you had to cut me off. And you know what, just have a blessed day. And recently, people say to me, how come you're always finding things? Like I found money, right? I was walking into a restaurant. I found money on the floor. Now I looked around. I'm like, is this a hidden camera show? What's going on? So what ended up happening is that I looked around. I said, okay, I'll pick it up. Now I was by myself. I was in a different state, and I decided to go to dinner. I said, I don't know whose money this is, but I'm going to sit at my table. And I'm going to put it on the table. I'm not putting it in my pocket. Because if I see a commotion, somebody go, oh my God, I lost this money, I'm going to go and return it to them. So I put it on the table. I had my dinner, and the bill came, and I said, I'll pay with that money. And so then I even posted about it. And then what wound up happening is the divine that wanted me to have dinner on the house. But It was
Yeah.
my intention that if I saw somebody who did lose that money, I was going to give it back. Now, had I taken the money, walked into the restaurant, anybody drop this money? Everybody's hand would have been up. Who's under 1? Who's under 20? Who's under 10? Right? What ends up happening is that I came in there because I found something, but I didn't think of me. I think of like, oh man, somebody lost money. I'm going to grab it. And if somebody does come back for it, it's theirs.
Yeah.
The whole thing is that money, once they lost it, no longer belonged to them. It wound up, it had to belong to me. And it was for me to give the waiter a good tip, because that
kind of like the universe paid it forward somehow.
it did. So here's the thing, right? For example, when I lend someone money, I never expect it back ever, right? If I get it back, I consider it a gift,
Yeah.
right? It's like, wow. Even when it comes to material things or anything like that, because, like people get mad if something breaks or if they have something and, they get crazy. And I'm like, it's just a material thing. It can be replaced, right? So
Yeah.
there's certain things in life, if we can start to act with kindness and just be open to just being a part of giving, I think that the world could change. But there has to be a lot of inner work, a lot of the capacity to have love for yourself is huge. And a lot of people don't, because when they were younger, they were told them, you're no good, you're no this, you're ugly, you're fat, you're skinny, you're whatever, you're not smart enough, you're not. So we take all that negativity and we take it in, and
Believe it.
we have no room for the love. So we have to, and what I tell people is, I say to my clients, I say, you have to start by tearing your life apart, tearing yourself apart, and then putting yourself back together with the pieces that you love. And all the junk, all the nonsense, all the bad habits. And you talked about a habit. You brush your teeth every day. Guess what? That's a habit.
Sure.
And it was not created by you, by the way. It was created by the dental society, right?
I know.
But it's a habit that was good enough that your parents said, hey, we want you to have good teeth. We want you to have good health. So we're going to brush your teeth every day. And at first you were like, oh, I have to brush my teeth. And then later on you're like, you don't think about it, right? But you do it now and you go, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to think, because you're not just brushing your teeth. So we create habits. You meditate. That's a habit that you've created. If you smoke,
right,
obviously that's a habit.
Nope.
I'm saying, I know you don't smoke, but I'm saying if you did, if you drank all the time, that's a habit. So everything that we can do or not do can come from the habits that we have. Every habit can lead to either a worse habit or a better habit.
Yeah, that's true. And I think what you're talking about also is receiving. Most people are pretty good givers, but when you described someone cutting you off in traffic or whatever, that was one of the spiritual exercises that I learned through A Course in Miracles, which was extending forgiveness. Oh, you must have overslept. I get it. It's okay. You don't take it personal. You are detached. And that's the goal, is to be detached and neutral. That's why I always focus on the heart. And when I get triggered, I can feel my I don't know, blood pressure or something. I'm like getting my back up, I have to just reparent myself and go within my heart, reconnect. I say, ground up, return to neutral. So it's like that whole thing that I described, connecting to the earth. You do it so much that you can do a little shortcut, like a mantra in a way. Ground up, return to neutral. Even if I'm working with someone energetically and I'm starting to get like attached to the outcome, I want it so bad for them that they clear this energy or whatever, I sometimes just need to return to neutral.
I like that.
So that I can be the divine channel and not Tracey, the personality, making it happen. Because I have a strong will and I can make it happen, but getting out of my own way and allowing the divine to use me as a vehicle of 100% pure divine light, that I can't think of any greater. Even with Dr. Shaw, he was all about giving to humanity. And I couldn't think of anything greater than that, because when you give to humanity, you're giving to yourself. If you give to yourself, you're giving to humanity. It's all one thing. And we all have, I think, And when I say the word responsibility, it feels like, but it's self-responsibility. It's self-kindness. It's allowing yourself to receive love.
Right.
And that's what I loved about the Access Consciousness bars, BARS work, because it is like we have these limiting thought beliefs, like bars in front of us. And I don't know if you've ever experienced Access Consciousness bars. Have you?
Tell me a little bit more about it. I'm sure I have.
So reflexology is for your body. You put those points on your feet connected to all the nerve endings. But in Access Consciousness bars, I used to teach this and facilitate the classes, and you just release so much consciousness and limitations. But there's 32 points on the head that when you hold them and you can just think the clearing statement or say it out loud, you release so much with ease. And what is their motto? All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And glory is like exuberant abundance, not necessarily money, but just lovely energy, So you hold these points like on the temple. It's like an energetic bar is going between my fingertips. And I love all the bald heads today because you can see their points, around the head. And you connect to these energies. And I'll just say the clearing statement. It's kind of like a magic wand. And it's like, what? It goes right over your head. It's right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. It's just like, and what it is a clearing statement that used to be a lot longer than that, but it clears all these aspects of life, whether it's aging, creativity, sexuality, body, time and space. There's all these points, and it's just fabulous work. So now when I do Transmosis, I kind of like do healing touch, make sure all the chakras are flowing, sure the field is clear, call in the guides. We acknowledge what you want to work on, acknowledge what I got for you, and we put it up into that energetic soup. And then I just ask. It's almost like a Y, like the letter Y. It's like
it's funneling down. Yeah.
You have yours, I have mine, and then the divine has its. And then I get to be the sound, the light and sound. I get to be the voice of the collective 100% pure divine light.
Nice.
And just share what I hear and see. And it works. And I don't know how. But people feel better. And it's not like you got to come all the time or whatever. But I use that with the the Access Consciousness. We clear out entities, darkness. And I want to say that if the light is at level 10, the darkness could be 9 to 1, and it never prevails. It never can go above. You just need to clean it up and free yourself so that you don't have all that heaviness, that baggage.
I love it. Yeah, one of the things that for me, it's always putting out positive energy, no matter where I go. So for me, when I was a child, I used to have temper tantrums, bad.
Oh.
I used to bang my head against the wall, and I lived in Colombia, and they were not sheetrock. It was like concrete.
Yeah.
I didn't get hurt. I don't know how. But eventually my family figured out a way, and they got me to stop. And then, I had a lot of things that happened in my life when I was younger. By the age of 18, I let it all go. I have not been mad.
How?
Or acting out angry or vicious or nasty to anyone else since the age of 18. I let it all go. I was angry at my family. I had all these feelings, and I said, you know what? It's silly for me to hold on to this stuff. I totally let it go. So for me, it's always about positive energy. How can I help you today? What can I do to help? How can I be of service? How can I make what I'm doing better? And it does not matter what I'm doing, even if I'm cleaning a toilet or building something or helping a client, I'm happy. And I found that when I was 18, where I let it all go. I don't know how, but I understood it.
Oh, you don't?
I understood that negative energy was not healthy for me. So once I let it all go, man, did I feel amazing. And
I bet.
I do every day. Every day. And it doesn't matter. Listen, we all go through trials and tribulations, but no matter what I'm going through, and people are like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, I'm great. Like, how are you great? Because you're going through this, you're going through that. This is happening.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, but that does not define me. And that's, I think, what it is, right? My circumstances don't define me.
Do you think it was divine intervention?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What a blessing.
Oh, yeah. It's when you realize that your little actions that you do, some people may think they're big, some people that may not even notice them, but every little action that we take every single day can not only change your life, but it can possibly change the world, or at least the world of someone else, right?
Oh, I think we're all one thing. We're all connected.
Mm-hmm. Very.
And it's those disconnects. I mean, it didn't help with when we had the COVID thing. I mean, we all were like, and we had to do our own work. You either did it or you didn't, and got creative or not, or this or that. And why are some people blessed and others seemingly aren't? I wonder if it's as simple as a choice. Could it really be that simple? Like, I see that the negativity for you doesn't work. No. So now I'm going to be positive. Because I kind of remember being angry and I remember giving up. It's like, this doesn't work. As a younger person, it's like, what good's it going to do? It doesn't change anything. Yeah. And if it does change anything, it might change it for the worse, or the lower frequency, if you will, rather than love. And it feels so much better to laugh and have joy and connect to people heart to heart. It's just, it's lovely. I don't know why I want to bring this up, but when I first moved to Santa Fe here, where I live now in New Mexico, I was offered a job to work for a contractor for the prison system. I thought, oh, how am I going to do this? Because I'm so sensitive, and I would build like energetic eggs around me so energy couldn't get me and all that,
Right.
But I feel so deeply that it's kind of hard being empathic. As these people, unfortunately or fortunately, I would manage when someone passed away in prison. I would look at the case and see what we could have done or what happened. But when you read these people's lives, no wonder they ended up where they ended up without having support. And I would say that the justice system is not equal. It's just a really weird institution. There's a lot of corruption, but then there's a lot of corruption within our own being. And that's what I think about this energy work, is it kind of like gets rid of all those distortions and corruptions, meaning energetic RNA, DNA, trying to make a replica, but then it gets lost in translation or something. And I don't know why. Maybe I've earned it. Maybe you've earned it to have the divine that's got our back.
Yeah.
If you will. And that's what I want everyone to know, is that they too can have that. And it's not like being a fundamentalist, or it's just your divine birthright to be a divine human and connect to your body and your heart and your soul. And it's all one thing. And to be in relationship with it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That helps create inner peace, inner harmony. And the inner world's kind of where it's all at.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when we create and we have a desire or whatever, we kind of get that from the inner first. And then we're spirit and matter. And when the spirit and matter meet, that's sacred to me.
One of the things that I think I'm very fortunate. I think I should have died several times. I mean, a lot of times. I think I have a guardian angel, maybe more than one.
Yeah.
Because I'm still here, and I definitely should not be. Many times over.
Wow.
Probably like 11, 12 times over. And yeah.
Wow.
And then that's what makes me realize that my life is worth living. That every second that I have, I have to contribute. It is a gift. It is, and every minute I have to make it count. Not only for myself, but for whatever it is that I am here, what I've been put here to do, to bring out, to help other people, to make a difference. Because every one of us can make a difference. But the thing is the choice.
Yeah.
Do we choose to make a difference? Or do we live selflessly, right? Just for ourselves. Who do we live for?
Or do we wallow? Do we wallow in our dismay?
Yeah.
Going to the grocery store. What are you looking at? You know what I mean? You can actually shift your thoughts by just smiling at somebody. And you never know if that smile prevented that person from, God forbid, committing suicide that day. You don't know.
Right.
You don't know how pained each human is. When I worked in the medical, you take their medical history, you're like, just seeing you on the street, you would never know you were in that much pain, and the emotional pain and the mental pain and the spiritual pain.
Mm-hmm.
But there is hope. There is love.
There is.
And love melts all blockages. That's what Dr. Shaw would say. One of his coined phrases was, love melts all blockages. And it's so true.
Right.
And that's what we are. We are love.
Yeah.
And I always used to fret to say words like this because I didn't want someone to think that I was trying to convert them, but I'm just feeling now comfortable speaking truth.
Nice.
When you connect to it, you're that.
Yeah.
When you say it, if you tell the chakras to partner up and have the front to the front and the back to the back and just clean it all up, it does it. And I know that because my teacher taught me that. But also, I had the fortune of working with a friend, a dear close friend, who sees with her eyes open, like clairvoyant. And she goes, why don't we have a session together and I'll tell you what I see? Because if you've had this big expansion experience, which was very uncomfortable, I felt massively insecure and I didn't know what was going on. I was really uncomfortable. And I did Transmosis Healing on myself. And then I felt better. It's like, oh, I was just getting into realms that I'd never been in before. And it was uncomfortable to receive that much love, But she confirmed what she saw when I would say, violet consuming flame, clean, clear, cleanse, heal, harmonize, and balance. She could witness it actually happening. I have faith that it's happening.
Right.
And the people say that they feel better, but she could see it. So it was like my own little experiment. She could tell me what was going on. And it was just a beautiful experience. So I don't know. I'm just following guidance.
Wow.
I was told to call Vicky, my teacher of multidimensional body balancing, when I was driving to work in Boulder, Colorado. I'm like, no. I'm like, all right. So I called her and she was out. She was out camping. But her outgoing message said, if you want an energy clearing, call Jean. So I'm like, okay. So I called Jean and I had an energy clearing. And what I realized is they gave form and structure to what I was doing organically and naturally. They kind of gave me the structure, but the structure is like loose because you might have something in your astral body. I might have something in my causal body. It's just like, it might be endocrine, it might be nervous. And we're all so stressed out. It's our nervous system is on sympathetic. It's just run from that saber-toothed tiger, fight, flight, or freeze. And we're frozen in that churn. And what's so beautiful is if you can just use the light and you put you in a holographic fight or flight room and turn the dial down and it resets, restores, regenerates, recalibrates, and integrates.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine why it could be that simple, but it is. And we can, parasympathetic nervous system, just pull us back down into balance because our body wants to do that. It does it all the time. Blood pressure, breathing, whatever. But breath is important. When we're in fear, we're holding our breath up here. But when you're like a baby breathing, you can see their belly moving. They're relaxed. They're chill. They've got all their needs taken care of. We forget that we can have our needs taken care of.
Well, you mentioned babies, and one of the things about babies is that they don't have anger. All they have is joy in their heart. They have love. You ever see a mad baby 2 weeks old? No.
Unless they're hungry or tired.
They're not mad. They're not mad.
No, you're right. They're just
a baby who's 4 months old. They're not mad. They're either going to cry because they're uncomfortable or they're hungry, which is uncomfortable. But for the most part, when they learn to smile, when they see something, oh my God, it is the most amazing thing to watch. And a baby's laugh is the greatest thing you can listen to.
I agree.
But it's us adults, society, that changes them. We make them into angered children, adults, behavioral. It's everything. It's what society brings. So we need to change us so that when we are around kids, we bring out the best in them, not the worst in us. And so what do kids do? They mirror, don't they?
Yeah.
Right. How did they learn to walk? Why didn't they crawl? Why do we not crawl? Because we can still crawl, right? But why did we walk? Because we saw someone we wanted to emulate. So babies want to do that. Why don't we stop showing that, hey, maybe I'm angry at your mom or your mom's angry at me? No, let's just, yeah, maybe I don't agree with what you're saying. And don't ever, if you're a parent, don't ever have an argument with your child or scream across the room to the child to like not do something. Maybe if they're going to get hurt, you might have to raise your voice, no doubt, but it's not in an anger voice. It's more of a warning voice. And that can change how that child interacts with their environment. It's the environment that causes, look at how many people, look at all the school shootings, and it's all because of this negativity that's around us. Look, every criminal who's in jail was a beautiful, adorable, laughing child. But it's the environment
The innocent.
that changed them.
It is.
Whether it was drugs, another person, an influence, being bullied, who knows what. But it's the environment that we're in that changes us. But it's us who have to change our future by helping our children be better, have a better outlook, have more love in their lives. Sometimes we don't understand children, but we don't have to understand them. We have to accept them. Same thing when someone cuts you off, someone is rude to you. Hey, you know what? If you knew me, you wouldn't be rude to me. That's how I see things, right? So if you're being rude to me, you obviously don't know me. You don't know that I come with love, and that's okay. Go ahead, let it out. But I'm not gonna return it to you. I'm not gonna scream back at you. I'm not gonna be rude back to you. I'm still gonna show you love because two negatives don't create a right.
Yeah.
A negative and a positive is better. And I teach the kids when I teach martial arts, I teach them, right hand is for power, left hand is for peace, and the fist is the power, right? The hand is the peace, and then we go peace over power. And they
Nice.
understand. And I talk to them about the power and the peace and all that. Because if we can encourage everyone to, when someone is angry, not to come back at them with anger, but to come back to trying to understand. We will never understand, but we can try. We can try to empathize. We can try to be there for them. But the minute that someone triggers you and you become angry, you lost your power. You lost everything.
And you go back to neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't lose my power ever. No one can have it but me.
That's a choice.
It is a choice.
It's great. Yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you.
So Tracey, tell me, how can my audience reach out to you? Because not only do I want your book, I want it signed, and I'll pay for shipping in the book and whatever. But how can they get your book? Where can we find your book?
I would suggest people go to the website, my website, which is my first and last name. So anyone listening that's driving or whatever, it's TRACEYWHITTET, TraceyWhittet.com. And honestly, on the website, I'm an author, as we discussed, but there's a free PDF of the book.
Nice.
Which I'm giving to people if they want it. But you can get it on Amazon, and it says that right on the website. So it's TraceyWhittet.com/book.
Gotcha.
But I have divine musings that come through. And they're called quatrains. They're 4 lines. And they're very inspirational. So I've been posting those on my website. And then I have a Facebook page called Transmosis Healing, all one word.
Nice.
And I've been posting them there, and they're inspirational. And it's giving to the world to uplift it. And then you can book a session if you want to. And you can go to Amazon, and that it has a hot link there. So I just send people to TraceyWhittet.com.
Nice.
And I have to kid around with it because Whittet, it's like Scottish, Welsh kind of name. But it's like, well, how do you say that? How do you spell that? I'm like, get Whittet. Whittet did it. Quit it, Whittet. That's all the stuff I heard in school, right?
Nice.
So yeah, TraceyWhittet.com is the best. And yeah, it's fun just to go there.
I definitely want a signed copy, though. I'll pay you for it.
Okay, I have some here. Sure. So let's connect.
Yeah, one of the things, and we talked about it, is connections, right? So I am very happy that you and I connected.
Me too. I feel like you're my friend.
Yes, we are. We are now, right?
Best friend. Yes, I love it. Very nice.
And by the way, eventually I will either be in New Mexico or Arizona. So
Oh,
I will be visiting.
that would be great. Oh, I got chills. That's so great. Truth bumps.
There you go. I love it. I love
Nice.
it.
Awesome.
All right.
Yes.
Any last words? Any advice for someone who is thinking about coaching or looking for a coach?
Follow your heart.
Mm.
Follow your intuition. One thing I will teach right here very quickly that you can do for yourself. You know how people use pendulums or dowsing? They can ask yes and no questions. Your body will never lie and it will always tell you the truth. So you can ask a question that you know is true, like, is my name Raphael? Where do you feel that in your body? It's called the heavy or light tool. So if it feels light, that's usually truth.
Mm.
If it feels heavy, like in your gut, it's a no. So you ask yourself a question that you know is already true. You don't have to think about it. And you just notice where you feel it in your body. And usually it's in the heart or the throat upper area. Then you ask yourself a question that you think is false and you know is false. Like, is my name Dylan? No. So I feel it down here in my solar plexus.
Right.
I say that to empower you. Should I take this job? Yes or no? Your body will let you know. Food. Should I have the chocolate cake or the apple? You know logically what it is, but maybe your body needs some magnesium and it wants the chocolate cake. I don't know.
That's funny you say that. I always tell people, before you eat that meal, ask it, how will your body react to it?
Yeah. Ask your body what it needs and what it wants. And that's how this healing work works. If you give the soul what it needs, healing occurs. Right. So it could be on any level and every layer, timeline and dimension. You just ask. So that's my thing. Ask, trust, acknowledge, and accept. Accept the truth of what your body is telling you. And that happens with relationships. That happens with your life. It's a tool for life. And it's also in the book.
I love it.
The Magi Within. I learned it from Access Consciousness, but I want to empower people to trust their intuition and don't just trust the outer world, because we got to kind of overcome a little bit of that conditioned response that we have from listening to the media. Oh, they must know. I grew up in the DC metro area. It's like, yeah, I'm not so sure everything they're telling us is true.
Right.
So I work on trust. I work on my own trust, but trust yourself. And the way you do that is by connecting to yourself and being neutral and connecting to your higher power, your divinity, because we are divine human. It's practical divinity.
I love it.
We're the soul representative here.
Yeah, we are.
We have to act like it, right?
I love it. I thank you so much. Those are some words of wisdom and something that someone can do, at any time. No matter what they're going through, right? I appreciate you sharing that with us. My gosh, you are a wealth of love and knowledge, and I appreciate you today so much.
Oh,
and I'm so happy we're connected.
Thank you. Me too. Yeah.
Now I have a friend in New Mexico, which I'm going to visit.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Got me.
I do. Great. Well, thank you so much. You have an amazing and blessed day. Thank you.
You as well. Thank you again.
All right, you got it. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll be back with a new episode and a new guest. You can find all episodes of the Coaching Call podcast on Apple, Anchor, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts. I ask that you please leave me an honest review. This episode was made possible by listeners like you. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and buy me a cup of coffee. Make it a large. I'm trying to keep this episode free of advertisements. Anything you can donate to the cause is greatly appreciated. To donate, go to paypal.me/Sifu Raphael. Thank you, and I really appreciate your help.